In this video, I'm going to be going over the custom documentation now provided by Tebis America. Beforehand, we would give you 7 different kinds of documentation that you could use to post for your shop. But now we have something that we're going to give you that we can make changes to, or either you can make changes to as well by using a simple text editor. Here at the top, we still have a summary. We have a setup plan. We have programs. And if I scroll down, I could see a used tool chart and also the tool assembly list. All this is now changeable and adjustable. Okay, so one of the first changes that we're going to make, we're going to increase the size of this image here for the setup plan because it's a little small and the NC programs are bleeding into the first page. So if we take a look at our style sheet here, we can see in the setup plan there's a width percentage. Okay, so let's increase this by 15%. Okay, so now that we've changed this, if we take a look at the setup plan, it's now 15% larger. And the NC programs are not bleeding into the first page anymore. So this just depends on the size of your job, the setup components that you're using, the size of your table, etc. The next change I want to make is I want to switch my actual documentation from portrait to landscape. I'll now make the setup 25%. Okay, so now you can see our outputted documentation is in landscape format, which the job does need to be a little bit smaller when you do this, but maybe this can help save some paper depending on what it is that you're doing. This is especially good too if you have longer tooling, things with extensions, and some items like that, even if you've got a longer table. So let's switch this back to portrait, and we're going to make the setup now 50% once more. We're going to take a look at the NC programs here. If I do not want to see the NC programs, I can change this top statement from true to false. Okay, so let's open this PDF file. I still have the summary, I still have the setup plan, but now it skips right to the used tools and tool assembly list. So the NC programs are no longer output. I'll now change the setup plan to false. And re-output the documentation. So when this outputs, it will have no setup plan and no NC programs. Okay, so you can see here in the outputted documentation, there's no setup plan, there's no NC programs. It is basically just a tool list, which I know this has been asked about quite often. So now this is possible by using our custom XSL style sheet. Okay, we're going to change the setup plan back to true, as well as the programs. Here in the used tools, there's a tool list ordered as used. We can switch this to true, which is now going to change my used tool list to be in order of how they're used and not by order of the magazine. Now, once we open up this new PDF, I can go to the used tools options and now see that they're in order of how they're actually used when you program. Also, we have a little more information on the right hand side. It now has the reference where I can either see the tip or center based on how it's output, as well as the name, comments, what it's used for, the time, etc. Okay, so let's change this back to false, and let's look at the tool assembly list. So right now it's set to default layout in between the quotations, but we can switch this to an alternative layout 1. And this is going to give me a new and improved tool assembly list. Okay, so let's open this PDF and now look at the tool assembly list, where you can see this is now changed. The image is much smaller and towards the left side. It's now more organized in my opinion. I can see the tool number, the name, holder length, cut length, corner radius, number of teeth, Also the min and max RPM, as well as the min and max feed rate. And this is per tool as well. So if I'm have different spindle speeds and feeds for those tools as I program, I can now see that. I can also change the rotation of that tool in the sheet. So I'm going to change it from 270 to 90, which is going to flip it 180 degrees. The cutter head was facing towards the left-hand side of the PDF file, but now it's going to face towards the right. You can also make this 180 degrees, 0 degrees if you want it to flip vertically. It's completely up to you. Okay, so let's take a look at our tool assembly list. And I can now see the cutter is facing towards the right hand side of the PDF now. So if this is something you want, you can definitely make that change. You can also change the font here. So if you do not like the Helvetica font, you can change that. You can change the size of the font, and you can change the weight. So either if it's normal or bold, completely up to you. I can change the color label background. So here I'm going to change this to yellow, which this can also be an RGB value. It just depends on what you're looking for. Just a side note with all of this as well, you can just use anything to edit this, like a notepad or notepad++. It's a very easy to read format where I can go in and change these statements and play around a little bit and re-output my documentation to really investigate and test and tune it right to get what I want. So as I open this up now, I can see that the background of all my main columns here are now yellow. So you can make that your company colors or whatever it is you're looking for. You can make any small changes as well. Scrolling through this, these are just a few of the main ones, but it's completely up to you however you want to change this.